Hey, True Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. I've been talking a lot about the number 42 lately, and especially how it's coded into hatred, especially hatred of black people. Here's a story in the mainstream media today, along the side headlines of Freddie Gray and all that's happening in Baltimore. It's a story of 42 Christian churches being burned and people being held accountable, 71 being sentenced for the burning of those churches. The number 42 in regards to Christianity is of much importance. But what I want to point out also is where the 71 men who were arrested and charged, where that took place was Kafir Hakim, which has a Pythagorean gematria of 42, 18 plus 24. And in simple English gematria, the name Hakim also has the gematria of 42. So there's a double 42 coded into this location where these men were charged with burning 42 churches. And again, the purpose here is the same as any other hate-filled headlines that are about creating division amongst their people. What's happening in the United States has been done throughout the world before even the United States was a country. I have these friends who are from Saudi Arabia, and they're so fun to talk to because they're open-minded and they know more about issues going on in this country than any American I've ever met. And it's so interesting to think they're from Saudi Arabia, but they truly follow more about American life than any Americans I've known, maybe even more than myself. And I've introduced these two gentlemen to gematria, and one really subscribes to it and thinks it makes a lot of sense. The other one listens and thinks it's interesting, but he's a skeptic. But both of them know that even in their own country, in their own region of the world, the media has turned their own people against them and made them all hate each other over the shades of their skin, their religious beliefs, you know. Same formula throughout the world. And how can this be explained? Because at some point, a powerful enough concentration of people who abide by these same principles have been ruling over humanity, essentially, using the same coding, the same techniques. Apparently, they're effective techniques. Let's watch the mainstream reporting on this story real quick, and then we'll talk more about 42 in the Bible.
Seemingly oblivious to the others around him. I'm sad, he says. My religion tells me to come clean.
I want to point out that the word Coptic has a gematria of 66, another important number. For Coptic Christians, New Year's Day is September 11th. September 11th was New Year's Day for Coptic Christians.
I clean the church. The church is my home. The Islamist pro-Morsi mob attacked at night, looting and then torching the building. What makes it all the more painful is that the perpetrators are from around here. They know some of them. At least 30 other churches across the country were attacked in less than 24 hours. Egypt's minority Christian community once again finding itself in the crosshairs of a battle over which they have no control. The violence started after Morsi's ouster. On June 30th, Father Bukhtar Saad tells us,
True Seeker, if you haven't seen my video post on the Morsi protest and how it's a staged photo op, you should check that out. And again, look, they said that was the starting point. The same time the media was making these fake protests, signs of violence, completely fake, so obvious. All this stuff is part of an agenda that's constantly being waged against us by this same media and these same Zionist governments.
they started organizing marches and demonstrations, chanting outside the church, chanting down with the church. He says he will continue to preach about the need for peace and tolerance, but it is going to take time to heal Egypt's many wounds.
While we've been filming inside, some of the people kept on closing the door. They're worried that those who carried out this attack would see us here. They're concerned about our safety and all of this as well. And even while this cleanup operation is underway, there are still great fears that similar attacks are going to become more frequent in the future.
As we depart, gunfire on the overpass. were signaled to go back. Someone tells us it was a demonstration, an ominous sign, perhaps, of what's to come. Arwa Damon, CNN, Kafr Hakim, Egypt.
All right, so there was the mainstream story saying that all these churches, Christian churches, were burnt in a small period of time. They used a different number in the media reporting than they did in their written article. But the 42 is present, very obvious. Mentioned in the article, coded into the name of where the men were charged. With regards to 42 in the history of Christianity, the original published Bible was the Gutenberg Bible, also known as the 42-line Bible. It's of 66 books, 39 Old Testament, 27 New Testament. Gutenberg Bible sums to 66 in gematria. Notice that it was the year 1847 that the first copy was brought to the United States. The word Christian equals 47, just like obey, just like authority. The flip of that, 74, the reverse of 47, is the number for Jesus, cross, Messiah. Also in the Quran, Muhammad, and it's book 47 in the Quran that speaks of Muhammad. You find the same numbers coded into the Bible in the same way they're coded into the Quran, which should be revealing. And this story that we just heard about the Coptic Christians, remember Coptic also equaled 66, important number. Manifest Destiny equals 66, that's another post coming. But with regards to this Bible, 42-line Bible, this coded numerology that we see in so much more and is ever present today, it has a publishing date credited with March 22nd, 322. The word Masonic equals 223. In a lot of places you would write the date March 22nd as 22/3. The word Masonic equals 223 in Jewish gematria. These numbers are Masonic. They're coded into the beginning of our nation and many other nations. They're coded into the beginning of the Bible, the world's first published book. They're coded into other religions that now fight with each other. The point I'm getting to, Truth Seeker, is that Freemasons believe in order through chaos and duality, pitting two different things against each other, multiple different things against each other. That's how they work their scheme of order through chaos. Imagine over time being a strong enough network to get out multiple publications, create multiple religions, and use them for the sole purpose of strategically dividing people. Why would this be done? For power, for control, for what has happened, to create a class of very rich people and a class of very poor people, using people in a greedy fashion for your own self-gain. True Seeker, I don't subscribe to any religion. Many of you well know that. I try to be open-minded about them all. I try to see the good and the bad. And I've been this way since I was a child. I probably had this mindset since I was 12. And along the path, I've often thought that maybe the world's religions were a purposeful division, just to make us divide and hate each other over one more thing. I have a mother who tells me the story of growing up in North Dakota in a small little town where it was divided by Catholics and Lutherans. And she said the Catholic children couldn't play with the Lutheran children in most cases. I mean, think about how ridiculous that is, dividing over sects of Christianity. You know, people want to hold these things dear, but I say we should only hold the things dear that make life better for us. If there's important teachings within religion, then we should keep those. I think the most important teaching that's pretty much found in all of them is living by the golden rule. You know, if you treat others with respect, if you treat your environment with respect, if you aim to be a giver, a creator, and not a taker, you know, good things are going to happen for you and this world and your community. We have to look at who's been playing us all these years, telling us what to think, what to believe, who to trust, who to hate. This is an age-old trick, a worldwide trick, and we can't get out from under the thumb of it. It's happening in Baltimore, it's happening in Egypt, it's happening in Asia. My girlfriend's from Burma, the country that's had the longest civil war in the world. What are they fighting over? Christians and Muslims. Age-old story. It's not just Palestine and Israel, it's everywhere. You know, you think we'd be able to find commonality in being humans who all need to eat good food, drink clean water, breathe clean air, have the right to be educated and understand the world we live in better. Instead, truth has been hidden, and falsities, lies, deceptions have been put in the place for us to subscribe to and live by and abide by. I think in the religious text there's a lot of truth and probably a lot of edited misleadings meant to deceive, meant to turn ourselves against each other as we so often do. One more thing, True Seeker. I want to talk about the word church and the number 61. Also, this song, Take Me to Church, fits right in with what I'm going to talk about. Notice the length of this song is 4 minutes and 2 seconds, a lot like 42. The word church has a simple English gematria of 61. Take me to church with Pythagorean gematria also sums to 61. In the King James Version of the Bible, that's the most Masonic version, even though actually that's not true because the Masons have their own version, but aside from that one, it's the most Masonic version. In this version of the Bible, the 61st book has 61 verses. No other books are like that. They don't correspond with their verses. 61 is a prime number. The 18th prime number, the word prime also has a gematria of 61. In history, there's a lot of 61s. These are just some interesting ones that really stand out to me, though. Roger Maris beat Babe Ruth's home run record with 61 in the year 61. In World War II, 61 countries participated. In the Bible, where the miracle catch happens, that's in the Sea of Galilee, which has the gematria of 61. And it's a story that has to do with fish, something very much connected to 42 and 113. They catch 153 fish in the Sea of Galilee. Hold up, Truth Seeker. I want to show you this too about the Sea of Galilee and these numbers we study so often. Okay, Sea of Galilee, home of the miraculous catch. If you look up the stats on this lake, it is 53 kilometer circumference or 33 miles. Two very interesting numbers. The word religion equals 53 with Pythagorean gematria, and 33 is very central in the Bible, including the first book, Genesis. The Sea of Galilee, 33 miles circumference, and Galilee is a 33 word. In Pythagorean gematria, Galilee, G is the seventh, A is the first, L breaks down to 3, I 9, L 3, E5, another E5, 33. And notice it begins with 71. Remember, there were 71 men charged in the town with 42. The word fish has Pythagorean gematria 24, S exception 33. Simple English 42 and Jewish gematria 113, all very important numbers. And in the miracle catch, there's 153 fish caught, which corresponds with the Vesica Piscis, the symbol that represents Pisces, and the ichthys that's on the back of the cars. All this stuff connects. Sacred geometry, geography, gematria, numerology. It's all present. The fourth book of the Bible is titled Numbers. 4 is the number of foundation in numerology. The fourth book is titled Numbers, and the Bible's full of numbers. True Seeker, what I want to say last was 61. is we recently saw a big story with a lot of 61 in it. It was the story of the gyrocopter. Gyrocopter equals 61. The pilot was 61 years old. The name Doug Hughes, the pilot of the gyrocopter, the name also sums to 61. In the year 61, Barack Hussein Obama was born. He was probably born with a different name because I suspect his current name is a coded name. With regards to this whole Christian Islam thing, think about Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, and the United States' recent history. In the decade before Obama came to be the president, the two names taught to hate the most were Osama and Saddam Hussein. Then we get the president, Barack Hussein Obama, born in 61. You know what happened in 61? JFK was elected president, the last president to die in office. Somehow, some sick and twisted way, truth seeker, all this stuff is coded together. As I often say, I'm also a student of my own work. I'm constantly learning more. I want to know more about this number 61 and why it's so heavily coded. I want to know why the 61st book has 61 verses. But somehow all these facts before our eyes all fit into this puzzle. Remember, Loretta Lynch was sworn in on the was confirmed the 113th day of the year, a date with 42 numerology. Her name equals 153. So she fits into this Sea of Galilee story. The first African American female astronaut in space fits into this story. The exact same coding. I did a post on this. Their birthdays perfectly straddle Obama's. These numbers, truth seeker, they are the truth behind the riddle. All right, so just so that I don't venture off too far here, we'll wrap it up. My point is these numbers forever coded, forever trying to divide us. And we as a people need to come and realize that. And we need to learn these numbers better for ourselves so we can truly see what has been done to us. All right, until next.